We're starting a new unit today, and it is line. Line is an element of art. There are two types of lines. There are straight lines and there are curved lines. Anything else is just a variation of the two choices. We have solid lines and we have interrupted lines. So solid means that they're solid. There's no interruption at all, whereas dotted is the interrupted is there's dotted or there's a separation among your lines. We also have what's called implied line, which do you see where this dark gray area starts and this light gray area begins? That is considered an implied line because it's not an exact line, but when two different tones merge together, they create what's called an implied line. We have psychological lines, which makes the viewer see the direction in which something is going, the line in which something's going without actually having a line. For example, the bird chasing the ball creates a line, even though there is no actual line between the two. The movement of the two going towards each other feels like a line. We use lines to sketch, so to get general outlines and contours of what we want to create. We use lines to shade, so we'll fill in areas with lots of lines to create shadowing or value, we call it. We use lines to create depth, to make something look more three-dimensional and more realistic. We use lines to support drawings, such as creating grids or guidelines, to do perspective, make structures, accesses. We also use line to decorate. And lines have feelings. We tend to associate horizontal lines with more calm and more quiet spaces, distant feeling. We associate vertical lines with height and balance and structure. We associate curved lines with comfort, elegance, and grace. Zigzag lines are anxious, confused, and show energy. Slanted lines can show action and movement. Parallel lines can show speed and movement. So we're going to explore some line today by trying to create movement and direction and depth, all with the use of some curved lines, really. You're going to do this in pencil, but because I am working on black paper with the camera, you're not going to be able to see what I draw. So I'm going to use a white color pencil so you guys can see, but you can just use regular pencil. Okay, I'm going to turn my paper this horizontal direction, and somewhere around the center, I'm going to create a long curved line that goes from one end to the other end. Then along my curved line, I'm going to put anywhere from 6 to 8 dots. Now you don't want to make the dots really big. You just want to put little marks so you know where those increments are at. And you can space them out in any variation that you want. So I did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I am doing 8. Then what I'm going to do is take my color pencil and I'm going to start at the dot that I have here, and I'm going to create a curved line that connects to the end of the paper. Then I'm going to start from that same dot. I'm going to create another curved line that connects to the next dot. And then the next dot, 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 and the next dot. I'm going to do the exact same thing on the opposite side. Curved line to connect each of my dots. Then I'm going to continue to build these lines. I want to make sure, though, that I stay within the dot as I make the next layer of curved lines. Always make sure your pencil goes back to that dot, no matter how much it has to squeeze in there to make it fit. you can go on to the other side or you can continue on the same side. I'm going to continue on the same side. And you can see that as I add my next layer of curved lines, I still want to make sure that I'm returning to that original dot. This is going to create movement and dimension to this line design. Repeat, repeat, repeat. Always make sure you're following the contour of the previous line and go back up to that dot. Repeat, 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 repeat. Now, you're going to find at this point, you're probably running close to the edge of the paper. If that happens, you're going to let your pencil touch the end of the paper and then pick it back up where it would start again. Touch the end of the paper, pick it back up where it would start again. Touch the end of the paper, pick it back up where it would start again. Touch the end of the paper and continue that. So the illusion of the line continues to go all the way off the page. Now I also have some spacing over here where these pieces would actually be the same thing, but on the other side. So I am going to continue those lines before I move on. Then I'm going to do the next step on the other side, which is repeating the same thing I just did. And again, making sure that I stay really nice and tight to my original dots. That's what's going to really make the form look three-dimensional when we are done with this. If your pencil is starting to get dull, make sure you sharpen it. I'm starting to get to the point where I'm going off the page with some of these. Maybe not that one so much. Oops, fix that up there. Awesome. Oh my gosh, look how 3D that's starting to look. And then final step for today is we're going to go back over our lines with the metallic Sharpie. I have 6 different colors for you to pick from. Any color you want to work with: blue, green, red, gold, silver, and bronze. I'm going to use the blue. The only line you're not going to trace over is the center line. So you're actually going to leave the center line untraced, and you're just going to have that like what looks like a footballish type shape in the center. So instead of just tracing over that center line, do not trace over that center line. We're going to leave that untraced because we're going to be adding some more line work next class time, but it's going to involve some reflective lines. So just going over all of my lines. Again, making sure that they're all coming together, because we really want this to look 3D and have some nice movement and nice form with all of these lines repeated. All right, so I'm sure you are feeling pretty confident to get started on your own. You can always rewind this video, pause it to revisit how to do anything you weren't certain of working on. And I'm going to stop that here.